it also takes people from every walk of life and makes them part of the same.
And good evening. Tonight, or this afternoon, we are expected to see Vice President Kamala Harris speak there from Howard University. She's expected to talk and concede this election to former President Donald Trump. As you do know, Kamala Harris did in fact lose this election and is projected to lose right now. Former president, now President-elect Donald Trump is expected to take this election away. You're taking a look at the podium there in at Howard University. Now, throughout today, there's been a number of newer developments as we kind of stand by, get this reaction in where we go on from now, what a Trump administration would look like. That's been a big question moving into today. A lot of people believe, including myself, I believe that the reason Kamala Harris did in fact lose this election is because people were looking for change, and Biden and Harris have already been in office, and voters told me it wasn't doing it. It wasn't good enough for them. What they were providing was just not doing it, essentially, is what they were telling me and what voters were telling me. So that's something that I think is key on this, on our continuing coverage here, election night across America. It's never ending. I want you guys just to know that, that no matter what, this coverage never ends. And that's why we're still calling this election night across America, because we are still witnessing history right now. And so much to break down. There's been so much that's happened today. We've also seen stocks pretty much go up all day today. You're seeing campaign people speak there, and we will continue watching that. I do want to make one change to our graphics there at the bottom of your screen. Stand by here. I apologize. We were kind of rushed onto the air here really quickly. I wanted to make sure that you guys knew everything that was going on and knew that we had it for you, and we were going to follow it from the second it happened. So right now I am changing just one thing here as we do continue our coverage here. So one change, and we should be good to go to continue talking about a number of different things here. So you're going to notice one change here in just a second. Okay, so you were taking a look there at Howard University, where Kamala Harris right now is kind of stationed at, as we are joining you right now for breaking news coverage, as Kamala has conceded this election and admitted that Trump has won. Now, something to note here, there has been no type of election fraud talks so far. I will say, since last night, the Trump campaign has been excited about what the future does in fact look like for the Trump campaign, running a winning campaign here. Now, something I would like to note is people on Fox News were pointing out late last night, that really early this morning, that how this campaign had been different from 2016 to 2020. This campaign was not full necessarily of all of these lies and things of that nature. Now, I'm not sure if some people would agree with that, just because this campaign, and every campaign former President Donald Trump has been involved in some way, in some type of, I'm not necessarily going to say scandal, but some type of incident the reporters have had to fact check. And we know Trump is someone who often does in fact lie. I will say, I still have my notes here from last night when he gave his victory speech. He basically says it's apologies, that was going to be Kamala. I was going to read you guys Kamala Harris's notes from her speech. He says, quote, "He'll help America. He'll fight for you with every breath in his body. He is determined. He has outlined his campaign saying he's determined kind of to fight for the American people and fix this problem that the American people are facing. And I apologize, my earpiece here keeps falling out. So, again, Kamala likely to deliver her conceding speech after losing to former President Donald Trump. I want to give you guys the latest on the results also tonight. Or I keep wanting to say tonight, but what I mean to say here is also this afternoon. And we might be seeing something here. We see cameras coming out there. Something good be coming here. We'll stand by there as you see a number of people excited about all of this and just happy. And it's really a wholesome and full moment for this campaign, who has ran an unsuccessful campaign, but in some ways it has been interesting. These campaigns have been interesting following them, and now it's all coming to an end with Kamala Harris leading here. We are expected to see Kamala Harris walk out any moment now, and while we wait for exactly that, I want to take you into the results and where they stand right now as we continue to follow all of that right now. A number of other battleground states have been called since we left you guys last night. Those battleground states being Michigan and Nevada, both called in favor of former President Donald Trump. Kamala Harris taking the stage right now. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back. So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting. To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much. To President Biden and Dr. Biden, thank you for your faith and support. To Governor Walz and the Walz family, I know your service to our nation will continue. And to my extraordinary team, to the volunteers who gave so much of themselves, to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you all. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran. And the way we ran it, over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up. I will never give up the fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld. And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And the fight for our country is always worth it. It is always worth it. To the young people who are watching, it is, I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives. People who had suffered great harm and great pain, and yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. HU. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
Okay, you have just watched Vice President Kamala Harris there deliver a speech at Howard University. You're seeing there her husband there, Doug Imhoff, there as we continue to listen in there at that rally. We will break that down. There's so much to talk about. she begins her rally saying, her heart is full of grace, love, and resolve. She says, the light of Americans' promise will never leave unless we give up. She says, she talks about the transition from her administration. From okay, I want to apologize about that. A few technical difficulties there, but she talks about the transition from the Biden-Harris admin to the Trump-Vance admin. She says it'll be a peaceful transfer of power. She also talks about a number of other different things, saying she called Trump, congratulated him on his win, and she says that there will be no kind of foul play here. They are not going to have an insurrection or anything of that nature, which is what Democrats have called January 6th. She says, quote, I do not concede the fight of this campaign, though. She says she will go on with that. She says never give up on gun. She will never give up on gun violence, democracy, and the rule of law. Here, she says, let us fill the light with a number of with a billion stars. Apologies, we have just lost that feed there. So we will continue following all of that. Really, this pretty historic time in American history, where we have just learned that Vice President Kamala Harris will, after her term comes soon in January, in early January, she will begin moving out of the naval. I'm having some trouble in my earpiece here. I'm going to just take it out here because I am having some technical difficulties there. But she says that they will, as she moves out of the vice president's house, she will move out peacefully. That transition to power will be nice. She says the Biden admin will help her with doing exactly that. We're going to break down the results in the latest in the Senate and the House right after this very short break. Thanks for sticking with me through the last few nights and sleepless nights for so many out there. We will be right back in just a moment. Welcome back here on this BN Special Report. Kamala Concedes. We have just watched a speech from her. We will continue monitoring that speech. But right now, a check-in at the presidential election, where it stands. You see there on your screen, Harris at 226 electoral college votes to Trump at 301, above the needed 270 to take this election. Last night, late into the evening, early into the morning, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Georgia were called in favor of him. Now, Michigan, Pennsylvania have been called in favor of former President Donald Trump, in favor of the Republican candidate here. Arizona, the only state that has not been called in favor of former President Donald Trump. There, we will keep watching that. Scrolling down here to the Senate results, the Republicans will also take the Senate there, 52 Democrats, 45. So that is going to be the next little while here with the Trump campaign and new people ruling in the Senate. The Republicans there, a number of races taking that, including this state of Ohio, where Bernie Moreno beat incumbent Sherrod Brown. I believe also, I want to say Wisconsin. Nope, Tammy Baldwin took that one. No call in Pennsylvania yet, with David McCormick leading there by 0.5 percentage points there. So A number of changes there. Sam Brown, Jackie Rosen, that's a tight race. Same with Ruby Gallego and Carrie Lake there. That's a tight race there. But 52 Democrats, 45 Republicans here gaining 3 seats. Keep scrolling down here to the 2024 House results. At this point in time, Democrats have lost 3 seats and Republicans have picked up 3 seats. It appears Republicans have a large chance here at taking the House as well. And I'll just say, as I said early into the morning, I should say, I talked about if there were to be a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and a Republican presidency, you are going to see a Republican overhaul on policies and with the Republican Supreme Court. So it's going to be hard to break through and go above them, because usually, if we have if we kind of have this split thing, you can get things to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will help you there. But right now we're seeing this largely majority-leading Republican Supreme Court, as well as a possibility of Republicans taking a House, Republicans taking the Senate, and Donald Trump taking the White House. I want to thank you for joining me throughout the last 27 minutes here. We joined you for a BN special report as Kamala has conceded this election, as Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. President-elect Donald Trump has a lot of policies he's planning to implement, and we will continue following all of that. This concludes Kamala Harris Concedes special coverage. Thanks for watching.